Hi everyone, welcome back to Plant Happens. Today I'm here to talk about my current favorite anthuriums. I've chosen, I think 6 anthuriums to share with everyone. And unfortunately, because this is my favorite, I think some of them might look a little bit similar because I have a type obviously and the type is dark and velvety anthuriums, although actually I don't think any of them are velvety this time because my most velvety anthurium is probably dark phoenix and it's not here with us today. It took a really bad turn after producing 2 set of inflows, and then I pollinated both of them, and then it dropped all the leaves. Okay, that's a completely unrelated talk for this video, but anyways, I'm here to show you 6 anthuriums that I'm enjoying a lot right now, and I think a lot of you who are in this hobby can agree that your favorite plants typically change over time when it's putting out new plant, or maybe it's easygoing, maybe it has a lot of pretty leaves that's like not damaged, maybe it's sizing up nicely. But I think for the most part I'm showing you the newest leaf is just really pretty on these leaves. Some of them are hardened off, some of them are not hardened off, but I just really wanted to show you some of my favorite anthuriums because I feel like I haven't shown you any of these. I don't think I've shown any of these plants on camera, at least. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen some of these because I post these on story a lot of times. When I water plants, I tend to go in with my camera and snap photos of the leaves that I find really pretty. So if you follow me on Instagram, again, like you might have seen some of these, but I think it might be nice to see how I not interact with them, but like in a video rather than just photos. So anyways, that's enough intro, and I think I'm gonna start with the smaller ones and then move on to bigger ones because I think that's gonna be easiest to manage things around the table here. Okay, so let's get right in. Here is the first anthurium I'm gonna show you. This one is Anthurium minahasa. At this time of filming, I am not confident that this is a type of crystallinum, but somehow I feel like it is. I feel like it's a mutation of crystallinum because of the way the venation is, but it has very unique venation pattern and it's very, very prominent. I agree. I think crystallinum already have very distinct, very flashy, very, how should I say, very prominent venation, but I think minahasa is even more prominent, and the venation on this one is so sparkly. I got this from my friend Alice as a stump, and then it put out new leaf very quickly, and the first leaf was kind of misshapen and wavy, and I actually kind of liked it. So I will get closer to show you. So this is the first leaf it put out, and you can see how the venation is not very crisp, but also the leaf margin is really wavy, and I was kind of hoping this to stay, but as you can see, the next leaf it put out the regular heart-shaped leaf. Not that it's a bad thing, it's really cute, but it's also would have been kind of cool to have this kind of leaf continue. But I was saying that the venation is super sparkly on this one. I don't know if it will pick up on camera because it needs quite strong light for it to show. Let's see if I can shine my phone flashlight and maybe that will help. Give me one second. I don't know if you can see, but it has that very sparkly venation and it's almost pearly. I really hope you are able to see this on camera. Yeah, so the other day I was looking at this in Exoterra where this is living, and I was so mesmerized. I can't speak apparently. Most of the day I can't speak. But anyways, So the other day I was watering and then I saw this under the light in the Exoterra, and I was so mesmerized by how sparkly the venation is. I think most venations are sparkly to extent, but I find this one to be especially sparkly, very almost have that pearlescent look to it, and I can't wait for this to grow bigger and give me bigger leaf that look like this, and then it's just really perfect heart-shaped leaf. And the leaf is quite dark, like dark green too, so I think the contrast make it look even prettier. Next one I have here might be a little bit of a different anthurium. I don't typically show this kind of anthurium. I don't have a lot of this kind of anthurium, but this is a hybrid that's Anthurium Subsignatum crossed with pup. And I think it's got really nice quality. When I first got it, it had this leaf. So it was like, oh, okay, you know, it's not velvety, it's just green. It had slightly elongated leaf, and I didn't think it was all that special at that time, but it put out this leaf after that, and it's like it's shiny, but I don't know, the leaf texture is not super thick, but slightly leathery, and then it has the sheen to it. I don't know how to explain, but it all looks almost metallic, and then it's bullied, and it was very cute when I and the new leaf looks very bronzy. If I can find a photo of the new leaf, I will try to insert it here, but if not, you will have to use your imagination. But the new leaf have like a coppery bronzy sheen to it, and then it hardens off very dark like this, but over time it lightens up again a little bit like this. And yeah, so after this leaf it grew this one. I don't know why only this leaf is standing up, but it was like this, and I thought it was getting more interesting because I don't have anything like this, and it's just really nice because a lot of pendant leaf anthuriums, I love them, but because they're super long, it sometimes will block the light. So if it's on one shelf and it just pendants like that, so I almost can't even use the shelf underneath it because it's blocking the light. But this has the quality of the pendant leaf anthurium, but it grows upward and then it pendants. So it's really nice to have on shelf. It's kind of different from my other anthuriums, so that's also why I like it. So this is second last leaf, but I think this new leaf is really nice. I think that's why I'm enjoying this so much now. This one is so much darker than these last last few leaves. I did say it hardens off darker like this, and then over time it seemed to lighten, but this one kind of stayed this dark longer, so I hope with maturity maybe this is gonna be the color that it's gonna stay, because I really like this color because it's really dark and shiny, and the white sinus is so cute. So again, this is my Anthurium subsignatum crossed with papillilaminum, Papi. So this one is my Anthurium King of Spades crossed with red crystallinum. This one I imported from Indonesia a few, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos ago. I showed the import process, and I think I showed this plant on the same video unboxing it, and it's grown this one leaf, and then I'm gonna show you the new leaf soon. But this plant has become quickly became one of my most favorite anthurium. I don't know what about it, because I guess because of the red crystallinum parentage, the leaf grows really red and then it hardens really black, and then it slowly fades to green over time, but I feel like the more mature it gets, the longer it stays black. So this is the second last leaf it grew. I mean, the first leaf it grew in my care, and it's just so stunning. And I think I got really lucky with the specimen because the venation is so prominent, and like in the mid sinus area, it has that bleeding venation effect. I will try to find when it was really black. I took a lot of photos when it was really black, and I inserted here. And the only complaints I had with this one is this is not ideal shape for me. I'm not saying this is not a nice shape. I think a lot of people like this kind of shape. It's like a perfect heart shape, but the HU, sorry, I forgot to mention. So the seller I bought it from, at least confirmed with me that he buys his he bought his hybrids directly from Haji Uli, who is Haji Uli, yeah, Haji Uli. HU comes from his name, and he is the original hybridizer of King of Spades. So anything that originally he put out typically is called HU now instead of King of Spades. But I think it's kind of used interchangeably sometimes. But King of Spades that has been like selfed and crossed or maybe propagated typically would not be called HU, because I mean, if it's a clone, I guess it's still a HU, but there's a specific look to the HU King of Spades. But anyways, I digress. And I wanted the HURC, so that's typically how people label this cross. So HU cross with red crystallinum some of them has really round leaf or really fat leaves, like wide. And that's the look I wanted. So when this leaf came out, I was like, okay, it's really pretty, but it's not the perfect shape that I was looking for. But I mean, that's what I kind of expected, because all the older leaves were kind of that shape, right? But then it put out this new leaf. Can you see? Can you see how magical this is? I don't know if this lighting is working very well. I don't know. I feel like the positioning of the lighting is not the best today. This is so red. And do you see how much wider this is compared to my older leaf? It's quite different shape. So I'm wondering if this is gonna mature more like wider or rounder leaf, because that would be perfect. So I'm really obsessed with this new leaf right now. I'm actually very scared to bring this out, because you know how fragile new Anthurium leaves are. Any little touch can give it marking or rip it. There is another plant I'm gonna show has ripped because I pull it out to take photo. But I had to show you this one because I really thought you guys will enjoy this. So highly recommend this cross. It's just such a joy to grow. I mean, look at the venation. I can't ask anything more from this plant. Oh, I'm just admiring it on my camera. It's so cute, and I will take a lot more photos of this as it matures. I'm sure it will mature and turn really black, and then I'll be taking like 4 million photos of it. But I'm just really obsessed with this one. So cute. And again, sorry, before I forget, just to mention that this is a King of Spades crossed with red crystallinum. And since I mentioned my ripped leaf, so I'll just show this plant. This is the plant that ripped because I tried to take a photo. As you can see, it's ripped here. But I think it was close to completely hardened off, so it didn't affect the overall look of this plant. So this one, sorry, I keep making random sound. So this plant is Anthurium Michel crossed with carlablackiae, And I purchased this from a local seller called Vincent. I will link his Instagram in the down below and also in the description. I bought this together with one of my friends because we were looking for something that look a lot like Carla but don't break our bank. And Vincent posted this on his website and in one of his restock, and it looked really dark and really pretty. So me and my friend decided to purchase it together, and eventually we will cut it and share it. When we first got it, I think on the photos, they always look a lot darker than they actually is. I think this leaf was already growing, but it was still quite small, and the main leaf we saw at the time was this one, and it looked really dark, and it had that color-esque venation. And then, but when we saw it in person, I think we were expecting it to be a lot darker than it is. But I think it's because we looked at it under the sun. Maybe it was just like really bright. But once I started growing it in my tent, I quickly grew to love it. I mean, this new leaf, can you can you see how dark it is? I can compare it with my other plant. Like this is minahasa, and this is like a normal, very typical anthurium color. And then if you put it side by side, it's so much darker, right? And I guess also after this new leaf that was growing, it kind of got stunted with the sizing up. I assume because of my repotting and whatnot. But this new leaf, it almost looked like Forgetii on camera because of this overlapping sinus, making it look like it has closed sinus. But if I move in closely, you can see it actually have this like overlapping sinus here. I don't know where that comes from though. Carla is not known to have that. I don't think Michelle is not known to have that, is it? But I feel like the venation super pretty, and the leaf looks super dark, and it's so pretty. I am sad to cut this eventually, but my friend is like, I have no space, so you grow it for now. So I am just happily growing this for now. But eventually I will propagate this and maybe even be able to make some stem cutting in the future eventually. Yeah, so this is Michelle carlablackiae, and it says here that it was originally from Lisa Chinapen from on Instagram at Luniza. I will probably try to link that as well, but I assume she is the original hybridizer of this plant. And thank you for making this plant. I love it. And please keep making pretty plants like this. It's so good. It's so good. Surprise, surprise, another dark anthurium. So as you can see on camera, this one is super black. It's probably one of the darkest anthurium I have. And this one is red crystallinum magnificum crossed with ace of spades dark form. And I purchased this as, I wouldn't call it a seedling, maybe like slightly bigger seedling or small plant from seller on Instagram, and her name is Aroy Baby. I'm not super sure if she was the hybridizer or maybe Hoya Ho was the hybridizer. If I find out, I'll put it down here. And I got it as a very small plant. I think leaves were about this size, but I actually picked it. It was supposed to be grower's choice, but I didn't know about that, so I circled it and I said I want this one, and she said, oh, it's grower's choice, but it's okay, she will give me that one. And this has been one of my favorite Anthurium for really long time, ever since it started putting out leaves like this, and it has been putting out leaves like this for a really long time. It doesn't seem to size up a lot more than this. This leaf is this size, my older leaves are this size, but it's just so black. I will compare with other Anthuriums in a second, but I just want to show you. Like, I show this plant on my Instagram all the time, but I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like people like it very much. I'm like the only person like it so much, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so good, and then people are like, okay. So I thought maybe I'll show you on camera and maybe it's a little bit better, but this is hardened off. It stays this black for a really long time, and it does fade to like slightly greener color. And I also, there is a downside. I feel like this is it's got a heavily it's got its genes from the Ace of Spades side a lot more, and it's got the Ace of Spades yellowing issue. So this is second newest leaf, and maybe you can't really see much right now from afar. As you can see, this is faded a little bit more compared to this, but it's still very dark. But if you look closely, it's got that yellowing. And if you look at one more older leaf, as you can see, the leaf size is staying relatively the same, but it's got a lot more of that yellow. And I honestly haven't done a lot of homework when it comes to this. They call it what's it called? Ace pox, because a lot of people have that issue. It seems like it's viral, and it takes a long time to treat it. As far as I heard, that it is treatable, but it takes very long time to treat it, and most people kind of just cut it off. Like when a new leaf grows, the newest leaf typically stays pristine until another new leaf grows. So this plant has been three-leaved plant in my care. Every time a new leaf comes and hardens, the older leaf start to do this. And once it's mostly yellow, I cut it off. But this, it's I don't know, words cannot describe how black this is. So I was saying this is so dark and so nice, right? This is the Michelle color that I just showed, and look at this. I don't know how to position this. It's really hard to, maybe the other way around. So it's almost different type of dark, because this in person almost have like a chocolatey color. It's that really rich black. Do you see? So this is very dark, but compared to this looks green now. As I mentioned, I really love my dark Anthuriums, so I have a lot of dark Anthuriums to show you, but this is by far the darkest Anthurium I have in my care. The second last Anthurium I'm showing is my mystery hybrid Anthurium, aka Tofu Anthurium. If you are not familiar with Tofu Anthurium, it's basically a mystery bench hybrid that I imported from Indonesia in 2020 or 2021, and that's the time that a lot of plants in Indonesia was sold as Ace of Spades or Dark Mama, but without any like backing. So they were just random dark Anthuriums, and this was one of it that I imported. And because at the time I didn't have a lot of containers to use, so I just randomly picked desert tofu. I don't know if you're familiar with popular sweet dessert from Taiwan that's called douhua, which is like silken tofu in sweet syrup, typically black sugar, but they also do it in Hong Kong with ginger sugar. and it's one of my favorite desserts, but that's off topic. Anyways, I had a container from it and I washed it out, cleaned it out, and I put this plant in it to acclimate. And then ever since then, we've been calling this, well, me and my friends have been calling this plant Tofu Anthurium, and I've made hybrid with this plant with Alice, and that was this plant with her dark forgetii, and we've been calling it Tofugetii. Some of you probably is familiar with that. And anyways, so even though this is like a bench hybrid, like a mystery hybrid, it's been my favorite for a really long time. I want to say this is very easygoing and very forgiving. It does brown around the edges, but I find that when I grew this in my tent, it got yellowing a lot more. So I was like, maybe it just don't like the other humidity, even though my tent is not super humid, but and I also have fan in there, but maybe it just hate to be in a contained area. So this was actually in Alice's care for quite a while, I think for maybe several months, because we were trying to make another hybrid, which actually didn't work out, but it came back to me maybe last month or maybe August, maybe September, and then it actually put out a new leaf in my ambient growing condition. So this is the leaf that it put out, and it's looking so cute. Even though it's lopsided, it's really dark and it has really cute venation, and the sinus right now it's already hardened off, so it's not super red, but before it's completely hard, it has the red sinus. I'll put a photo here, and it's just so cute. What else to say? It's like it's another dark sorry, not dark forgetti. It's another dark Anthurium. I'm sorry, but that's just my type. And this every single leaf look quite different too. I'm gonna try to show you some of the photos I posted on Instagram. This one is very different from this, and this one is very different from this or the last one. So it's just really interesting to grow. Unfortunately, it does brown and yellow around the edges as it age, and also growing in ambient condition is more prone to yellowing, as you can see. But it's not too bad. I think this one definitely suffered a lot, like trying to acclimate to ambient growing condition, but this new leaf is just doing completely fine. It's hardened off maybe around 10 days ago, I want to say. So hopefully this stays pretty for a bit so I can enjoy it. But yeah, I really want to make a propagation of this, but I'm not sure how it's gonna do. And since this new leaf is doing so well, I'm scared to do anything, but this is really due for repot, as you can see with this situation. Maybe I should just cut it, right? There's some start of the roots, but when you cut it, it might revert in size. That's always a concern, but I think more people need to have tofu Anthurium. What do you guys think? And last but not least is my Clarinervium. I feel like Clarinervium is one of those basic, basic not in the sense of the, it's not cool, but I mean like it's one of the original classic Anthuriums that everybody liked when Anthuriums started becoming really popular in plant community. But I think I've had at least 4 different Clarinerviums in my lifetime, but none of them grow well except this one. And this one is so low maintenance. I think you might have seen that it was on here. It's lived here for years now, and in the same pot. I haven't repotted this in years. A lot of my bigger Anthurium needs repotting, so that's probably one of my video in the future. But anyways, so this is super low maintenance. It's in self-watering pot with pond, and it likes to dry out a lot more than other Anthuriums. But that's not my experience with my other specimen of Clarinervium. It's just this one has been super easy going, and it just keeps growing. It's flowering maturity, but I just usually cut off the flowers. In case you didn't know, Clarinerviums take a very long time to produce berries. Typical Anthuriums, after pollinating it, I think I can maybe harvest the berries in a couple months. I think not 1 month. I feel like maybe at least 2 months ish. I actually have never counted how long it takes, but it doesn't take a year like these guys do. So Clarinervium, I heard it could take like a year to harvest berries. So I have no plans on pollinating this plant, so I just always cut off the flower. But it's just, and there's nothing else like this. It's classic, but it's classic for a good reason. Good reasons. This venation is just something else. It's so prominent, so neon, and so dark. I mean, is there anybody who dislike Clarinervium? And it's, as you can see, it's hanging onto leaves very well. Sometimes it does these weird things, but it's kind of inevitable. As I mentioned, it grows on my shelf, so then there's other plants in a way, and it tries to dodge it, and it just starts growing in all sorts of direction. But still, it's just so nice, so pretty. This is one of the top leaf, so this is second last leaf, I think. Look how dark that is. Look how perfect that is after all this time. And this is the newest leaf on here. It's so nice, so nice. This is another one I'm afraid to repot because I don't want it to suffer, and I don't want it to, how should I say, like get stunted with the growth. But given how easy going it has been, I'm sure it will do fine when I repot. And then because it's pond, it will just be from container A that is smaller to container B that is bigger. But yeah, finding a big enough container for this, it's gonna be hard. It's in one of these pots. So before you ask me, every time I show one of these pots, people ask me where I got this. So this pot has an inner layer that it's too full, removes. You can pull up like this. I don't know if you can see. So I bought this Winners / Home Sense. I bought a whole bunch that year because there was only 1 or 2 years they were stocking these kind of pot, and it's from a brand called Mosaic. Maybe you can Google Mosaic self-watering planter, but I haven't seen them in stores after that, so I don't know where you can get it, but that's what it is. And this is my Clarinervium, my forever love. And it should be yours too if you find a good easy care one. Okay, so that was my list of 6 Anthuriums. That's my current favorite. What am I saying? I don't know why I'm saying it in an awkward way, but my top 6 favorite Anthuriums at the moment. And I hope you enjoyed looking at my plants as much as I loved showing it to you and sharing it with you guys. As I mentioned, some of these plants really need repotting, so I hope to do repot and chat soon. If you have questions or if you have any topics that you want me to chat about, please put it in the comments. I will also post Instagram story with the question that you can input your question or topics that way. I hope I get some questions, I mean at least 3 to 5, so I have something to talk about while I'm repotting. If not, maybe I'll have to just think of something to talk about during that. And also, I am not limiting it to plant questions. If you have questions regarding me. As long as it's something I feel comfortable sharing, I will answer those as well. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye now.